in terms of the shutdown. I mean, it ostensibly, right? The Senate is negotiating on stuff, but Mitch McConnell has said that he won't bring any bill. He won't bring any bill to the floor that he thinks that Donald Trump won't sign. I don't see any indication that Donald Trump is going to change his mind in any way. He seems to be completely convinced that his entire political future is a function of being able to announce to the American public, we got a wall, or, I got $5 billion. I don't know. I guess I got 150 feet of a wall. And I think, too, he's got to think he could easily convince his supporters that there's a wall. They've convinced them that there's a caravan of, like a horde of invaders coming, that you need to send 4,500 troops to the border. I mean, the amazing thing about this is that, right, they've sold the idea that another caravan, and they sold the idea of the last caravan. And even though we have multiple of these caravans every year, but that these caravans are special, that they represent a unique threat to the national security of the United States. Not even like the idea that, there's a lot of people who want to, get asylum at the border, but that, like, if you have a lake home in Michigan, you got to be worried about, a band of marauding caravanners. They've been able to sell that lie. I don't understand. Like, it's fascinating to me because they've been able to sell that lie, but he clearly feels like he cannot sell the lie of, like, I didn't declare a national emergency, but we figured out a way of financing the wall. We're building the wall. The wall is being built. So mission accomplished. And he could just say that. But it's almost like he knows that Ann Coulter and maybe one or two others, they will see through that. And, of course, they also know that the caravan being a national threat's a lie, but they're okay with that lie. They're not okay with the lie that the wall is being built. And that's who he's like. It's literally down to that. They are the ones who are controlling all of this by withholding their praise for Donald Trump. And when I say they, I mean, we're talking probably about three people. It's stunning.
Well, it's true. I mean, what those people are the super hardcore anti-immigrant, part of the base. And they are, these are like Numbers USA and VDare and Coulter, who is one of them, who are just absolutely, I mean, this is their single issue people at this point, and they really want that wall. I mean, they literally, require it. They're demanding an actual wall, which, most of the Republicans in Congress, they all privately, according to reporters, all saying, this wall is so stupid, but, what are you going to do? We got to do it. I think that Trump really has been sort of trying to do that, to say, look, we already have a wall. I mean, he's saying it. It's like it's a total emperor has no clothes thing, we have a wall. I'm building a wall. He tweeted at one point that he had signed contracts in the Oval Office during the shutdown for the wall. This past week, it was reported that he and Jared Kushner met with contractors about building the wall, as if that is how the government works, right? The president hauls in some contractors and they hash out a deal. I mean, it's insane. But, he's trying, you can see that he's making that attempt to say, we have a wall. The wall's being built. I've already built the wall. There's the wall. Look. There it is. I mean, it's look at that beautiful steel
wall, barrier, slats, whatever you call it. It's there.
Right, it's there. Look at it. It's there. Now, of course, what he's talking about are fences that have been there for years, and they've done some repairs on the fences. They always do. It has nothing to do with him. But he's trying to sort of make that a reality for his followers, and some of them maybe many of them will be fine with that. It's about him winning. It's not really about the wall for many of them. It's about him being able to say that, that their guy got the job done. But you're right. You've got Ann Coulter, and you've got other people who really care about this stuff in a real sense. I mean, Ann Coulter is convinced, and her book, Adios America, was a big, inspiration for Trump on this whole issue, or actually Trump's handlers, like, Roger Stone and Sam Nunberg and those people who got him on the wall thing. It's that if we don't build a wall and end legal immigration, Stephen Miller being another one who is, in his circle, those people believe that if immigration is not halted, paused, whatever you want to call it, and I'm talking legal as well as illegal, that Republicans can't win. That's their whole motivation in this, is because they're worried about this, white minority and the people of color majority that's coming up, the demographic change, which they're convinced will put them permanently in a minority. And so it's a very, political sort of thing that has it has less to do with culture than it has to do with, sheer raw politics for a lot of the people who are pushing this. So
do you think that's do you think that's the case? Do you think, because I wonder.
Not for the voters.
I understand, but even like I know that the Ann Coulters will say, well, the Democrats just want more immigrants in here because they think it's going to benefit them politically. But Karl Rove, for all his faults, and he was a horrible, force on American politics, a horrible person in many, many respects. He understood that the Republican Party could, merely pivot and be more welcoming, and had reason to believe that when we talk about immigration, particularly from Central and Latin America, that these people were just as likely to become Republicans because of a lot of their social values. And it strikes me that when an Ann Coulter says, the real problem with immigration is because Democrats are just doing this to get votes, that's actually just that's not the real reason. The real reason is they're worried about the white culture. They're really literally worried about the whiteness of the culture, and the voting stuff is just sort of a way of making this about something different than their racism.
Well, maybe, but I think that it's also true that they have figured out, remember after 2012, they did their big autopsy, and we've got to do something, and we've got to be more welcoming of immigrants, we've got to do all this. And then Trump comes along and basically blew that whole idea to smithereens. Right. And the reason that it worked was because he recognized something that the rest of the party didn't, which is that the white conservative base of the Republican Party are so racist that they just will not stand for having those people in their coalition, at least not in great numbers, or asking for anything other than, gee, just allow me to be in here and I'll pretend like I'm not one of those people. You can have your tokens, your Marco Rubios or your Tim Scotts or whatever. They're happy to have those people out there, as
long as they're covered.
They're not racist.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But they will not stand for a party. See, when in that autopsy in 2012, they at least recognized that they were going to have to change policies. They were going to have to change their rhetoric. They were going to have to be welcoming in a way that is offensive to their own base. And they needed to do what Bill Clinton was accused of doing back in the 90s, Sister Soldier, go into the belly of the beast and talk to their white voters and scold them for being racist, and they can't do that. And Donald Trump pretty much, I think, that's one of the reasons why they have him so scared.
Right. All right. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we have more to talk about, particularly coming out of Virginia, now that we're talking about race. Yeah. I'm Sam Seder. This is Ring of Fire Radio. We'll be right back with Digby.